Good morning. It's Saturday morning, March 16th, 2024. This is Ron Brown. I'm going to take a look at the market using HGSI investor software. The market seems to be a little bit shaky right now, but we're going to delve into it a little bit deeper to see really what's going on. Always remember that the market is your teacher. You can listen to the talking heads if you want to, but what a market and stock ETF, Bitcoin, whatever is doing based upon price and volume and trends, etc. It tells you what's going on. So look to the market itself to learn what's going on, not to other people that are trying to sell you something. HGSI is not a AI get rich quickly software where you press a button and it gives you all the answers. There's a lot of that going on right now, being promoted and sold. I haven't looked at any of them because I doubt if they would do much for me because, like I said, the market is your teacher. Okay, let's move on here. Any stock index or ETF mentioned in this presentation is not a recommendation to buy or sell. All trading strategies are used at your own risk. If you're not using the software but you want to use it or give it a try for 30 days free, just go to highgrowthstock.com and you'll see a link to download and install the software. Now, it does take a little while to download and install the software initially, but with today's fast computers, it's not that big a deal, and I think you'll find it worth it if you take the time to learn the program. Okay, I'm going to get started here now. I have my market analysis user groups up here in the designer. I have a weekly chart here. I have a daily chart, and I have the warehouse views. And I'm currently in this folder right here, major markets plus. These are the indexes and ETFs that I look at every day to determine what I think the market's going to do. And it's just what I think based upon observation. I never listen to anybody else's opinion on the market because it's all right here in front of you. So I'm going to enlarge this, make this full screen right now. I'll get a pointer over here, and I'm sorted on the percentage price change one day. This is based upon Friday's close. You can see the UVXY, the ultra short VIX 2 times filter index came to the top of the list, and this is what happened over the past 21 days. It's down 4.5% over that time, but it is positive for one day, but not for the beginning of the week. This is because there was quite a bit of selling in the market yesterday, but it's not nearly as bad as it appeared. This is encouraging. The small cap index, the S&P 600, was positive for the day, and the Russell 2000 IWM are positive. So money is really not flowing out of the small caps. In fact, it was flowing in yesterday. Now going down here to the bottom, you can see the QQQs at the bottom. That represents the NASDAQ 100, which is also right down here. And you can see there's just a slight difference between the index itself, 1.1%, and the QQQ. Now the spiders, the SPY and the SPX, were both down 1%. So the SPY is really just a proxy for the SPX. So you can see there was weakness in the larger caps, but there was strength in the smaller caps, and that's really evident just by sorting on this percentage price change one day. Now, notice that I have my leaders index in here, and this was created back on the 9th of February. What I did is I just took my market leaders scan and made a group, and I'm tracking it for several days or months until the market breaks down. I'm going to spend time on that with this, but I just want to give you a feel for what the broader market did yesterday. Now I'm going to get out of this arrow, and I'm going to go in here, and we're just going to take a look at the NASDAQ like I normally do. And I'm going to change charts, currently I'm in my daily white candle charts, but I want to go up to my market charts, and I'm just going to go to the NASDAQ internals used with NASDAQ, and you can see this is a weekly chart here. This is the daily chart. I'm going to make this full screen. I'll hit my alternate 1 key. How about alternate 2? Give us a little longer look at what this is. So the I'm going to bring the arrow back up here, and let's take a look over here at the left side. Volume was high because this is triple witching day yesterday, so we really can't determine much from that. And so I'm just going to ignore the volume yesterday. It was most of that volume came in at the close. So it says volume's high, spreads below average, and the close is mid. And that is what is represented with this candle right here. Going down here to the best fit trends, up, mediums up, short term is down. And over here you can see that it closed at 36.52% of its daily range. There was an opening gap down of 0.53, and you can see that this gap down below the prior day's close. And looking at here, you can see that the volume compared to the 90-day moving average volume was 169% of average, which is represented right here. But when we start taking a closer look at this, this is the advancing versus declining stock. With the index down 1% for the day, you can see that the internals were actually positive with the green above the red. The up volume was greater than the down volume. The new highs versus new lows, not much change there, but it looks like the AD line actually moved up a little bit, and we'll take a closer look at that as I go through this. Now the market's clearly in a consolidation area. Let's see if I can draw a box around this. Right here you can see that there really hasn't been much movement since it hit the new high right here, and it's been looking for direction ever since. Now we can't really tell a lot from this, except the trend is still up. Get that arrow back here if I can. I mean, if we do this, and let's see, what I like to do, this is something that Trader Vic, who was a well-known trader in bygone years, I don't know if he's still alive or not, but he always said, draw your trend lines from the lowest low to the highest low before the highest high. So looking at that using his methodology, we would have broken this trend line, but barely. You can see support is right down here, and there is strong support across here. So the market hasn't broken down yet. It just seems like it, yesterday seemed like one of those days where it might break, but it certainly didn't. Now I'm just going to move down these. We're going to look at this one chart right here, because what I want to point out here is this is the NASDAQ advancers versus decliners. You can see the advancers actually were more than the decliners. Same thing on the NYSE. NYSE or NASDAQ advancing versus declining volume. The advancing volume was heavier. Same thing on the NYSE. New highs, new lows. There are more new lows than new highs on the NASDAQ, but on the NYSE there are more new highs than new lows. So just another way to look at the market to get a little different perspective here. Now this next chart I put in, and just ignore it. This is an index of the leaders. If it's going down, the leaders are outperforming the market. But what happens is this does not stay in this window, and I'm just going to get rid of the chart and tell you to delete it in the future. But you can see as it was going down, the leaders were outperforming even as the market was going up. But now the leaders are doing what the market is doing. But like I said, forget about it because this index will not stay in this window unless you put it in manually, and that's just too much trouble. Okay, this is the NASDAQ internals, the relative strength versus the S&P 500. If this line is going up, the NASDAQ is outperforming the S&P 500, and you can see that it's generally been going down, but yesterday it did turn up a little bit. So the NASDAQ composite is, well, it looks like it's running about in line with the S&P. Now this is the standard chart I use, but let's look at the McClellan oscillator. Now you can see down here that at the high point, or back here when the market was going up, this indicator and the summation index were near the top, but they've fallen. But you can see the AD line has come down, but it's turning back up again. I just take a quick look at these charts just to get a feel. They don't give me a whole bunch of information that is specific. It's just a broad look at the market. Now, here's a look at the new highs versus the new lows for the NASDAQ. You can see the index is still up right around the 18-day exponential moving average, so it's still strong. The fan is still strong here, 200, 150, and 18. So I just don't see that the market is really broken down yet. It feels like it. Let's go on to the next chart. And this is the new highs versus the new lows. If you look over here, you'll see that. And yes, it's been going down. Yesterday, there was a slight turn up, and the trend is down on the new highs versus the the advancers versus decliners, not new highs, new lows. But we have to be careful with this. I'm going to bring that pointer back up here, because this thing has been going down for quite a while, but at the same time, look at what the market or the index has been doing. It's been going up. But so what does this tell us? It tells us that it's been a narrow rally. With this going down so much and this going up, the index is still going up. So the heavily weighted stocks and the index are driving the market, the bigger caps. Okay, that's all I wanted to show you on that. But what I'm going to do now is we're going to go look at first I'm going to switch charts. I'm going to get out of these market charts and go to my daily charts with the end of day statistics, except I want this one right here. Now I'm going to come back to this leaders index at the end, but what I want to do right now is just work my way down this list a little bit. These are the ETFs and ETNs, major ETFs and ETNs. You can see the UVXYs at the top. Silver was up again, and if you look across here, the way I have this set up is 1 day, beginning of the week, 5 day, 21 day, and so on. You can see that silver has been on a nice run here. Gasoline's been going up. We all know that. Commodity index, but here's that small cap portfolio. It was up, and you can see it's down 1.5 from the beginning of the week and 1.8 for 5 days, but over 21 days it's been holding pretty steady. But this is encouraging that there was some movement into that. Now let's go down here to the bottom. UNG gas has been a disaster. Anybody who's been long natural gas has been pummeled for a long time now. And here we are with the QQQs. down 1.2, 0.8, 1.2, and for 21 days up 0.2. Now what really stands out here in this column is, and you all know this, that Bitcoin has been on a tear. I've got the ProShares BITO in here. It's up 29% over 21 days. Pulled back 4.9% from the beginning of the week, but it's been on a tear, as has Bitcoin. I really don't understand Bitcoin. I guess I'm like Warren Buffett in that respect. But anyway, a lot of people, if they've been long, have made a lot of money recently. And you can see that. Look at this move up on this. When this ETF came out, it was trading down here around 14, and now it's at 34. And yes, I should have been trading it, but like I said, I don't really understand the fascination with it. It's a demand supply thing now. I don't know if the real value is there. There's value according to perception, and that's about it. Now, I could be totally wrong on this, but that's the way I view it. Now, if we were totally emotionless traders and saw this moving, and let's just go down to this 2B, and let's look where the buys were using the 3.6 and the 18. You can see right here was the buy point with an effort to rise, and using the 3.6 crossover as a sell, you'd still be long this. So that move from right here to here, if I bring up my alternate A key and just draw a line from the close or the open the next day here to the current close approximately, that is a gain of 48.5% over 25 periods. Now, maybe it's best to look at these or not pay any attention to the symbols and just look for the VPA flags and the crossovers. Probably do a lot better without forming an opinion. This certainly would have been the case. And let me bring this back up here. You can see that the 3.6 crossover happened 28 days ago, 0 being the crossover day. And this is the volume point of control. There was a slight pullback on that, and then it re-triggered 8 days ago. Using the scorecard, you can also see that gold fired a long time ago, 19 days ago. Let's take a look at GLD. You can gain a lot of information just by looking at this warehouse view about how old the signals are, or if you're getting fresh signals. So here was the crossover. This is a negative VPA flag, but here is a test right after that, and the 3 stayed above the 6, so just using the 3.6 as entry and exit. In this instance, yes, you can be chopped around with this, no question about it, but that was another really healthy gain after the signal. I guess my point is that these signals come up every day on you. Just looking at these warehouse views, you can get a lot of information. Remember, I'm in the major ETFs and ETNs. Now, I'm going to go into the broad market indices. Actually, I'm going to go into the major market industries and sectors. I'm going to click through here. I'm going to go into I'm in my top-down process scans, and I'm going to go into the top-down scorecard views for HGSI index analysis. I'm going to click on this one, the raw combo. I need to sort on that, and what this does, it sorts the group according to the percentage price change one day. So even though yesterday and several of the last few days have not felt that great in the market, you can see that the healthcare index is actually doing quite well, up 4.6 yesterday. For the last 21 days, it's up 7.1%. So there is strength in the market. Now, I'm going to drop down. This is just a percentage price change. Look what's on the bottom here, the artificial intelligence stocks down 3% yesterday. NASDAQ 100's at the bottom, technologies at the bottom, semiconductors. So you can see the rotation right here by sorting on the raw comp or the percentage price change. And this is the way it stood on Friday. Here's the small cap index up here though. Now let's drop down here to number 3. This is the demand supply, advancers divided by decliners. And I found this interesting looking at the sectors index. 9 sectors were up yesterday and only 1 was down. So if we change to that index group, we can see that the tech index, or the tech sector I should say, was the only one that was down yesterday. Everything else was up. Now, since this is true, that tells us that this market isn't totally breaking down, but the tech sector is the sector that has been weakest. But I like to look at the major market indexes and sectors in here. Look at the advancers versus decliners. Now, if I go down this list, the percent advancing, 14 of the 28 indexes in here had more advancers than decliners. The worst ones were the NASDAQ 100, 29% up, 71% down. The Dow was not good yesterday either. On these artificial intelligence stocks index, 9 were up, 22 were down. Now this is the list of stocks I grabbed from a bar chart. They had a listing of the artificial intelligence stocks. I'm going to change to this group, and I'm on number 3. Let me bring the quick pick up so you can see this. I'm right here, but I'm going to go down, see where it says end of day, percentage price change, stocks up and down. So these are the ones that were up yesterday, the percentage price change. This is the index. Don't pay any attention to this. These were the ones that were up yesterday. SoundHound has been promoted this week. It's been all over the place. I was in it. Got out with a profit. Probably should have stayed in it, but it was just too wild for me. But anyway, these are the ones that are up yesterday. Tesla has not been doing well, but it was up yesterday. So we have 10 that were up, and we have 23 that were down. You can see the price changes here. NVIDIA was actually down for the day. Amazon, Microsoft, IBM, Alphabet, Supermicro. So there was some deterioration in this index yesterday. But let's go back. Let's back up here and let's just take a look at the chart and see what it's telling us. It's telling us that there is an effort to fall. Now looking at the weekly chart, you can see how strong this index has been. Let's zoom out here and take a look at it. This is the 3618. I'm going to go back to the end of day chart here. This is a comparison to the S&P 500. You can see that the index has turned down a little bit, so the S&P 500 is outperforming it right now. This has had a heck of a run, but there is some deterioration now. But if you want to stay on top of these stocks, you're going to find this artificial intelligence in the HGSI major indexes. They're right down here also. Here are the ETFs, artificial intelligence ETFs and stocks. Now this is in the market analysis user groups. If you're an Insider Club member, I update these groups quite often. So it shows you the power of HGSI, because you can create your own indexes from a group of stocks, and then that becomes really a surrogate or a proxy for the market, at least the technical stocks. The AI stocks is what I should say. So what can I surmise up to this point? The tech stocks are weak. We saw that, but with 9 sectors up yesterday, I just don't see this market breaking down yet. Now, that can certainly change in a hurry, but I just try to look at this visually and see what's happening by doing my own analysis rather than reading a bunch of stuff over the weekend and accepting somebody else's opinion. While I'm in here, let's go ahead and take a look at this leaders index. This report's getting pretty long now, so I don't want to go too much longer. But here's the leaders index. Here's a weekly chart, and you can see that there were a couple of negative VPA flags here, but now we're getting a bullish VPA flag, and this is strength seen returning after a downtrend. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right mouse click. I'm going to go into this index, and these are the industries that are represented in the index. Now I'm going to bring up the spectrum analyzer, and this shows me a breakdown of the stocks that are contained within this leaders index. I'm going to click on this. Under the user groups, I'm just going to I'll say leaders index, and I'm going to prepend the date, which puts today's date on this so I know when this was created. So what it's doing is going in and it's creating indexes of each of these industry groups and putting the stocks in those industry groups. Now I have to go locate that. It's going to be under my user groups, and here it is. I should have given it a better name rather than leaders index. I should have dated it. Anyway, as you can see, what it did is it created industry groups out of all of these, or out of the stocks that are contained in the leaders group. Now I can now go in and this is sorted on raw combo. I can see which of these groups. This is just the index itself. What they did yesterday, percentage price change, see where the strongest and the weakest groups were. Oh, I'm in the wrong view here, no wonder. Let me go back up to the percentage price change one day. Resort, and it tells me that waste management's on top, but let's go down to the bottom and see where the real weakness was yesterday. And you can see the EMS, ODM index, internet media, computer hardware, application software, and so on. This semiconductor manufacturing devices, if you look over here, you can see how much these indexes are, these different groups were down, I should say, rather than indexes. So looking at it from here, this really doesn't look that good with everything down yesterday, but once again, using this view, you can see the number of securities in each of these groups. I put this column in. There's 276 in the primary index, and then several of these indexes only have one stock. The most heavily populated are the internet-based services. Well, let me sort this way. Application software, biotech, internet-based services, infrastructure, so on semiconductor devices. So internet media. This is the way the leaders index looked as of February 9th. And what I'm using it for is a proxy. When this index breaks down, it either means the market's breaking down or we're getting totally different rotation into stocks. But let's do one more thing while I want to look at this again. And you can see how strong this has been. And this is from February, let's see, that's January. February 9th is this week right here. So it's from this point on to this point on. And looking at it this way, there's the 8th, there's the 9th right here. So it's not a very long period of time. And if I would have created this index back here at this point, you can see that it's really done very well, but I didn't. I just thought I would incorporate this concept into the software starting with the 9th, but you can see that there has been some rolling over now and breaking down. But let's do one more thing, and then I'm going to end this video. I want to take this list, and I'm going to go into the group performance analysis. This was created on February 9th. I'm going to start from the 12th, the opening date, and I'm going to close it on yesterday's date. I'm going to choose the group. I'm choosing the leaders group, and what this is going to do, it's going to tell me how these stocks have performed over this time period. So here's the S&P 500. Now that doesn't look right. There's only 161 stocks in here. This is not correct. When you run these, you have to make sure the filter's off. Hold your shift key, make sure that that is not indented. Now I'm going to run it again. And let's see how this is. How many stocks? There we go. 276. I thought that number was wrong. So let's look at the performance here. I'll bring up that arrow. This group, the leaders group, up 2.83% over that time. The S&P 500 up 1.77. 63% of the stocks are gainers, and 36%, almost 37%, were losers. And you can see here where the strength was. Now, this direct digital holdings has been coming up a lot, and it's up 140% just over that time period. Okay, but so you can see there were some substantial gainers over this time period, but if we go down to the bottom, you can also see there are some big losers, and these were earnings disappointments. I've looked at the charts, and most of them were earnings disappointments. Here's one that just the other day, Adobe, down 19.51% over that time period. It took a big hit. So this is a risk of trading earnings. It can go either direction, and if you're wrong, and if you're exposed in shares without any protection, put protection or anything, you can get hit pretty badly. But I want to point out that going back to the charts, remember this is from this bar right here, 2.9. So these stocks have been leaders. This was a snapshot in time from February 9th, and these stocks were leaders before I created this index. They've been coming up for a long time, but what it does, even though it was just recently created, it's telling me that from February 9th on, that this group, which contains a lot of leaders, it still hasn't broken down. Yeah, it's been really choppy recently, but it is holding up so far. If I drop down, let's look at this. No, I don't want that one. I want the 2B chart with the 3, 6, 18. You can see that the 3 did cross down through the 18. Very strong through here, but it did cross down, and it's slightly negative, but we're getting a VPA flag on the list. I just don't think it's totally broken down yet. If it goes down here through the 18, the 3 crosses the 6, and crosses down through the 18, then I would say this market's broken. Like right here, the 3 crossed down through the 6, but see where the 18 held. So the trend is still up. Now I'm going to do one more thing. I'm doing this on the fly. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I'm going to bring that list up under group performance. And I'm going to capture these stocks. I'll take it down to stocks that were up 10% or more. I'll do a Control C. I'll bring up Excel, blank workbook, Control V, delete this column, delete everything but the symbols, then do a Control C on this column of symbols, then go back in here under user groups, make a new user group. I'll paste the list. See, it brought all the stocks in. GROUP. We have 62 stocks, okay? I don't really need an index, but I'll go ahead and generate it. So I'm going to click through and go into the warehouse. And okay, there's 62 plus the index. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here under the File menu, and I'm going to use this feature, Save List As. And I'm going into my Downloads folder, and it says right down here what the group is, Leading Stocks. I'll save that. So what I've done is I've saved this list, and now I'm going to go up under my filters, click on my name. I'm going to edit it. I'm sorry, I didn't want to edit it. I'm going to open this, type in SYM, and I want symbol list. I'm going to edit it. I'm going to clear this filter. I'm going to load that list that I just created in my Downloads folder, Leading Stocks in Leaders Group. I'll open that. 62 securities are loaded. One was not found and cannot be included. I'll say yes. It's going to tell me that the index could not be found. That's why I didn't need to generate the index. Okay, so we have the symbols list here. Now I'm going through all of this because I want to see how many of these symbols were coming up in the Money Flow Smart Group. So I'm going to click on OK. OK. And now we're going back into the designer. This is something you don't need to do. I'm just showing you that you can do it. Group inclusion report. I'm going to use the applied filter. I'm going to deselect this. I'm going into my non-index groups, and I'm going to go into money flow end of day. We're just going to use February and March. I'm going to check the children. I'm doing this on the fly, so we're going to see if this works. And you can see that Supermicro Computer appeared 47 times in these money flow groups. Now, I'm going to narrow down some of these money flow groups, but you can just see that GE, VRT, all of them were appearing in money flow. Let's go clear down to the bottom here and find the stocks that appeared the least. Maybe some didn't appear at all. No, they all did. Core and Main, I've never heard of it. It's CNM, only appeared twice. Metal and Mining, Marathon, these appeared the least out of these 62. But they all did appear. So by applying that filter to the money flow, I can see where these stocks, how many times they appeared in money flow. And it just shows you that those money flow filters and user groups are working. Now let's do one more thing, then I'm going to end this. I'm going to go back in here and I'll scroll up here to the top. I'm going to leave all these selected. And let's see. I don't have a clue, but let's just see if they appeared in any of the instant watch lists or the can slim stock. Stocks with can slim like characteristics. Or let's go on down here. Let's see what else I've got in here. I want to find the perfect speculator history, February and March. Now, and I want to check children to make sure all the stocks. I'm starting to track the continuation filters. Just the other day, there's not a lot of information in there yet. But anyway, let's run it on this. Apply with the symbols list. And Progressive PC appeared 143 times using the money flow and these other groups. You can see that this is a can slim. Well, you can see the continuation. A few continuations are showing up here. Oh, that's a can slim continuation. That's different. Okay. Money flowing, perfect speculator means it's within 5% of 52-week high. Here's a back on the 4th, 3 below setting up, and then here's a crossover. So this is kind of a fun thing you can do. You can take my users groups and apply the filters, and you can just see when they appeared and how many times they appeared. This is going back to February 1st on NVIDIA, and you could go back a lot further with these, but I'm just showing you what can be done. Now here's GigaCloud. This just reported on Friday. They beat expectations. They're out to a new high. Look at all the times that it appeared in under can slim, box stocks, instant watch lists, money flow in, and so on. Anyway, this video is getting a little bit long. I just want to show you some of the things you can do with HGSI. You're not going to do this with other programs. So just keep that in mind. If you're not a user, you should really give it a try. Yeah, I throw a lot at you. There's a lot to learn. I've been doing this for 20 years. But what you do is you pick out a few filters and so on. Use the money flow filters and can slim filters. That's a good combination. And just look for those type of stocks to find the winners. Thanks for listening and have a good weekend.